I used to be a huge Stranger Things fan. When I was growing up every year, every other year, when the first few seasons were coming out, I was so excited. Time has marched on, and the gaps in between each season have gotten greater and greater. And coming back to this final season, I didn't feel enthused anymore. The show has kind of felt a little bit tired, I thought, in the last couple of seasons. There's just so much going on, and the episodes are getting longer and longer, and I'm getting more and more bored. But it's over now. It's done. Stranger Things 5 has ended. Happy New Year. We got
Happy New
that as
Year.
our little treat, but
Yes.
it feels so strange to get strange. It
Yeah,
feels
strange.
strange to finally have it done. Like this has taken the better part of a decade.
If you would have told me 10 years ago, 9 years ago, there's going to be 5 seasons of this, I would have been over the moon, like, oh, cool,
Yeah.
that's cool. But it went nowhere, basically. It just got boring, got tired, as you said. It just feels like the magic is gone.
Yeah,
I told
I
to be like sound depressing. It doesn't feel the
Happy New
same.
Year.
Happy New Year, everybody!
I
This is the Out of Time Film Podcast, where your hosts Tom and John discuss everything from blockbuster films to TV and games like there's no tomorrow.
When season 4 came out, I didn't watch it. I didn't really care. And then I saw how popular it was, and I was like, oh no, we may have missed a trick here by not covering it on the pod. So we're covering season
Yeah.
5 on the pod. And I've seen this incredible switch up where it seems like so many people are not liking the season at all. A lot of people have been comparing it to Game of Thrones. I haven't seen Game of Thrones, so I can't say
Me
anything to
neither.
that comparison. Yeah, I don't know if that's accurate. But I don't think such hate is warranted because the people who hate it are acting like it's an incredible show that has only in the last season got really bad. I don't think it's only in the last season that the quality has dropped. But, this season didn't break my heart. It didn't wreck me emotionally.
It wasn't offensive. If you look at season 1, Water's Wet. That is like a masterpiece of a show right there. And then as you go down the line, it started to break.
You can pretty much distill the show with the 5 main posters, where
Yes.
each one, it's just more and more characters being piled on top of each other. And I think this season can easily, for me, be distilled into the fact that there's just too many. If we had half the amount of characters, I feel like this could have been a really strong, focused season to wrap up this saga. We don't need Murray. We don't need Erica. We don't need
Derek.
Derek. We don't need Derek.
We don't
We
need Derek
don't
now.
need. I love her, but we don't need Robin. Half these characters spend too much time just standing around and doing nothing to the point where do we really need to have dragged everyone back? There's so many of them that it becomes a little bit distracting that characters from other seasons have been omitted, like Argyle from season 4. He's just not there, and it's a little bit like, wait, so why does this guy not come back? But the rest of them do, even though half of them like there's a lot of scenes where characters just sit and listen to other characters speak, and you begin to realize this room is too full.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of a bunch
Yeah.
of these fuckers.
This is the point where we love the mystery. However, all we got was just exposition,
A
where
lot of it,
characters will
yeah.
just plan. They will non-stop plan about everything. Okay, guys, imagine you're the book, okay? You're the book, and I am the bookmarker.
He's actually got a book, guys.
Imagine you're the book, and I'm the bookmarker, okay? I put the bookmarker in, and what do you see?
What
You-
does that
you-
mean? Hold
I
on.
don't know.
Put the bookmarker in the book, and you are the book.
Oh no.
Hold on.
That's what it is. Like
Yeah.
when Robin was explaining about the vinyls,
There are so many eureka moments where one character's like, I've got it! And you begin to watch these scenes again and again and again, not just in this season, but in every season. And you're just kind of like, all right, okay, I'm getting a bit bored. We spent a lot of time with Holly Wheeler this season, Mike's sister, and I didn't mind the idea of her plotline. It's not just a rehash of Will's disappearance. We get to harken back to some of the show's origins, but we're kind of raising the stakes. We're reminding us of the role of children in this story. But the problem is it takes so much screen time. She gets more screen time than any of the other characters in this show. And again, it's because there are so many of them and they don't know what to do with half of them. But the other half, we still have some amazing characters and amazing actors. And what they do in this season is they do build up from solid and compelling groundwork. My favorite part of this season, Steve and Dustin, they're incredible. Their relationship is incredible. And finally, they do something different with that relationship by having them hate each other. They really are getting on each other's nerves to the point where they are having proper fights because of what happened in season 4. And Dustin's angry at the world and angry at what happened with Eddie, and Steve is angry that Dustin won't open up to him. And there's just these incredible scenes where you have Gaten Matarazzo and Joe Keery arguing. That's really good. I was gripped on those scenes like I wasn't to any others. It was fantastic.
Yeah, they actually use dialogue. They use words. Yeah, that was also one of my highlights where we actually get to have characters create conflict. However, the central conflict of the story is Vecna.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to say this. Vecna is not a good villain. He's not even a good villain. I do want to shout out to the actor who played Vecna and Juan and Mr. Watson,
Yes.
Jamie Campbell-Bower. Excellent job. You did create this terrifying presence for Vecna. But what struggles for this show is the writing and directing. There are moments where things just start to get awkward and start to just drag on for a bit. So, for example, with Vecna, like, I wish they could have done a lot more work on Vecna and have a bit more of an emotional groundwork, I think, like something to like really go deep into the character. But we got glimpses of bits in the finale, just in the finale.
Yes, right in the final moment. Like, why are we doing this now? You set up something really interesting in season 4 with his backstory, and in season 5 we get, I would say, literally just 2 scenes where we explore that more in the whole season. How many hours is this season, and you devote only 2 scenes to properly exploring? I think Vecna in this season, and even in season 4, I know people will crucify me for this, he's just hype moments and aura. When he's Henry, when he's Juan, that is an interesting character, but Vecna himself is just scary for the sake of scary. He's boring.
And another thing as well, we always criticize in comic books, superhero stuff, whatever, when the villain has the same powers as the protagonist, like 11, for example. They both have the same thing with the force, whatever. It just gets boring. That's the thing. It just gets boring. Like, what is unique about Vecna? Like, what other powers do you have? Like, for example, the Mind Flayer, that's a really different antagonist that we see. And I think that was one of the most compelling things to see throughout Stranger Things. You know, it's the design, but we don't get much. Instead, Vecna was introduced in season 4. That's like Game. Okay, sure, this body just rolls up and then just like, I'm the bad guy. And it's like, well, okay.
I remember a lot of people were praising it for finally giving the show an interesting villain. I don't think that Vecna added anything. I think the idea of an unknowing entity like the Mind Flayer, like the Demogorgon, something that you can't reason with, that you can't understand its motivations, that's terrifying. That's really scary. And Vecna, even in season 4, is revealed in episode 1. There's no mystery, there's no build-up. It's just like, oh, and here's this guy who emerges. And again, in the finale, there's this really great. You know what? This is going to be spoilers. I don't know if you'd be watching this if it wasn't, but like spoilers. In the finale, they have this idea of Vecna and the Mind Flayer are like symbiotes. One isn't controlling the other. They are working together. Brilliant. Fantastic. That's really interesting. And what it boils down to is Vecna's evil lair becomes like a kind of meaty version of the Mind Flayer, which is what we saw in season 3. And like in season 3, all the characters stand around it and throw shit at it, bombs and stuff. And then Eleven's on the inside doing her point and scream thing, and Will is also doing the point and scream thing. So, you know, it's exactly what we've seen before. I found that way to end it really just dull. I found it really boring, and I was ready to hate the finale, and I didn't hate it. And we'll get into that, especially the ending. I kind of thought they nailed that, but the whole like everyone stands around and throws stuff at CGI while 11 points and screams. Oh my god, we've seen that in nearly every season now. Honestly, what a pathetic way to end it. Like, you could have done something different and something interesting. This show has some all-timer incredible sequences, like the running up that hill or the van bike chase. Some really strong stuff. And to end the whole thing, we have this scene that just is devoid of any stakes. The final thing that we have, I never felt any peril for anyone. Like, Lucas has got his slingshot, Nancy's got her gun. We've got all the iconic things, but I felt nothing because it was shot on a soundstage.
Green screen. Yeah. Just all that, really. Yeah, it's quite a shame because, again, we want something new and exciting, but it's just horrible that it's just ended like that. And we've seen this before. One thing that really annoyed me was that there was not really a main character in this show, if you think about it. Everyone just felt like side characters. They weren't really pushing the story forward or going anywhere. There was some things that we're trying to build, but we don't have any emotional value. For example, 11 doesn't really react to anything, or it's just the writing and directing that just doesn't go further beyond. And the writers, they don't do anything to add emotional value. There's too many fake outs in this show. Too many fake out deaths.
So many.
I'm so frustrated with that. I hate it.
No, 100%. It's been a criticism for ages. The fake out deaths and things that don't stick. That has carried its way all the way to the finale, and it's such a shame. This season felt so often like, okay, we're going to the upside down. Oh, we found something in the upside. We're gonna leave the upside down. Okay, so we're gonna go back into the upside down. Oh no, there's another thing. Okay, so we're gonna go into this thing and then go back into the upside down. We're gonna come back out of the upside. We're gonna sit in a room. We're gonna listen to Will talk, and then we're gonna go back into the upside down. We're gonna go back into the other one into the upside down. It's actually a bridge. There's two of them, and I was just like, guys, this is so boring. All the cool and mysterious elements of the show have been slowly beaten down with lore and explanation, so you don't have a single lingering question. There's no spooky unknowns that send a shiver down your spine. They explain everything, and it's nauseating to watch a show that I once loved, so destroyed by the culture that gave it a platform. I blame the internet for all this, for obsessing over the show, the iconography, the theories. All of it told Netflix, told the Duffers that we want more. We'll eat it up, we'll wait, we'll take in the tie-in novels, the stage show, the spin-offs, the animated prequel. Yeah, we'll take it all. But I think that we've had so much from this franchise that the very thing we fell in love with, the characters, the mystery, the darkness, the atmosphere, the complexity that thrives in simplicity, it's all gone because all that we have now is just gluttony. It's so much. You get everything in this season. They want to tie up every little element. And I find no fun in that because the original appeal wasn't that. It wasn't your 80s references and your characters doing their iconic thing. And it's annoying because you see the glimpses of greatness. The scene with Jonathan and Nancy in the goo room, you know, when all the goo's dripping over them and they have that breakup, that was fantastic. Or the scene where Max wakes up and they're in the hospital and her and Lucas are just, I think Max and Lucas are maybe the best characters in the show, but they have so little to do. Really, Max spends this season being like, how am I gonna get out? And then she gets out and she's like, I'm gonna go back in. And it's like, it just genuinely, there's never a point where she's like, oh, I don't know if I want to go back in. She's like, I'm gonna go back in and we're gonna kill him. And it's like, right, okay. I think it's interesting that my favorite episode of the season, episode 6, I think, which is one of the ones that was panned a lot because nothing happened, but we got a lot of exploration there. That is the one with the Jonathan and Nancy breakup. That's the one where Will is asleep the whole time. How do you feel about Will Byers, John?
Okay, there was a lot of subtlety with Will's characters in the previous seasons, but in this one, he was a much more focused character. For example, he gets powers from Vecna, apparently, which just takes away the whole thing about 11 and the powers. Like, oh, suddenly he has this, and there was a whole backlash that happened with the scene where Will came out. I didn't particularly love the scene.
It's a bad scene.
The writing just doesn't really justify anything, and it's awkward as well for the direction of the scene, like because everyone's just looking at him, like no reaction. It's like, oh, cool.
The thing that killed me was that Carly is there. 8.
Oh yeah, Carly. Oh yeah, we didn't even mention that. She's back from season 2.
Yeah, and she's just sat there in the scene listening to this kid she's never met come out, and you think to herself, God damn it, I don't care about this kid at all. Who is this?
Who is this little guy? Even Murray's there.
Oh my God, Murray, who shouldn't have been in a single season after season 2. Oh
the
my
most
God.
annoying character. Every time you said a word, I'm like, respectfully, shut up. Please, just let us let us hear the other characters.
I'm totally with you. The whole thing with the Will coming out scene is that it's a little bit insulting, I think. I know that many people in the queer community, and I relate to this, but it's the idea that we can't say the word gay. I mean, come on. But we're gonna...
You're gay? What? In the 80s? What?
Yeah.
What? How can this be?
We're gonna have this factor that was very much in the subtext, and we're gonna sort of deal with it in season 5, but not really. You know, a show that once did straight baiting with Robin so beautifully, they used the fact that she didn't say that she was gay to its advantage. I mean, it's a beautifully written scene, you know, with her and Steve in the bathroom in season 3. Fantastic stuff. And in this season, you just have him sitting there and being like, I don't want Vecna to take advantage of my fears. Yeah, sure, fair enough. But he doesn't even try. There's a line in episode 8 where Will's like, I'm not afraid anymore. And it's like, you never were afraid anymore. What's going on? You got powers in episode 5. Powers that, by my count, I think he uses them twice. Like, when he gets them, and then at the end when he also uses his power. Like, his whole, like, possession connection thing, that's not new. He's had that since season 2. And so to bring that back, this kind of connection and build on it, I don't think you needed to give Will powers. I think they were struggling with what to do with him. I think it just makes him more boring. He has been reduced to a character whose only fears are about his queerness. He's been reduced to a character who gets these powers and then is like, yeah, cool, I've got these powers now. We never get any sufficient exploration of what that means. I don't know if he still has them at the end or what, but like...
That's never explained. Yeah.
No, exactly. Will Byers is my least favourite character in this season.
Same.
And I think it's a shame because there is a criticism that after season 2, he doesn't really do much. In season 4, he does fuck all. And yeah, I want him to do more, but this wasn't a good alternative.
It's so awkward. Everyone's just gearing up to fight against Vecna. Like, everybody's ready. And then like, hold up. I want to bring everybody here and tell them that I don't like girls. That was like a sudden stop to everything. How long did it drag out, that scene?
Oh, it's a long scene, isn't it?
It's a long scene. I think a lot of people would say it works narratively because there's this arc and all of that, but it just becomes a very awkward pinpoint.
It just felt like they were patting themselves on the back for a whole bunch of nothing, and I did feel a little bit insulted. I mean, hell, my coming out was quicker than his. Jesus Christ. You don't need 5 minutes to tell the whole room and all your friends and family. Speaking of family, this show, when it came out, was the new Winona Ryder show. Joyce was at the center of season 1, and she's done nothing for so long. It's genuinely insulting. Again, I feel insulted by a few things in this show. Like, what a disappointment, what a waste of Winona Ryder, what a waste of that emotional core of season 1. But, and I was getting very excited with my partner as we were watching the finale, Vecna has been impaled. And I said, oh, Joyce doesn't do anything. Wouldn't it be funny if she used that axe to behead him? And then the scene was kind of getting into its climax and she was approaching him and I was like, oh my God, she's going to do it. Everything that everyone's been into, and it all builds to Joyce with an axe. You fucked with the wrong family and beheads Vecna. What? At that point, I was just like, hats off. After a really underwhelming final battle, that was brilliant. Well done, everyone.
Yeah,
incredible.
That was great to have that comeuppance.
Yeah,
like finally. But it is frustrating to see Joyce just do absolutely nothing until that point. Because I wish she was just more of an active character. And another thing as well was, it's finally ended.
We never have to think about it ever again.
No, we don't have to hear more theories or hear more things that are happening to Hawkins. But it feels bittersweet to see all these characters grown up. I was like, damn, this kind of feels really sad. You're saying goodbye to all those things. Like, I don't know. It's just, I didn't know I was going to miss it.
I was kind of thinking that I'd finish the show and I'd be like, oh, what a waste of time. But watching that final scene, it did make me a bit emotional because the core of those 5 characters, those friends who play D&D together, most of them are fantastic actors.
Yeah, well, most of them, yes.
We don't need to harp on that, but they are very good. And seeing them play that final campaign and putting all their books away and leaving the basement was emotional. And the music, which is pretty solid throughout, the music in that final scene, which of course harkens back to their very first scene in the track just called Kids, they really use those emotions to their greatest effect. And I am genuinely thrilled with how they left a little hanging mystery, because as I say, they've ruined so many of those, and that is all part of the fun. I loved that we ended it on a fun little wink of just like, who knows, eh? Is 11 still alive? You can choose to believe it, you can choose to not believe it. That's great. That's exactly what you want from the final thing. And yeah, sure, maybe in 10 years' time they'll bring it back and 11 will be found again.
Spin-off.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? Stranger Things 6. Oh, look, Vecna may be dead, but the Mind Flayer isn't, and he's possessed Derek now. Like, I don't know. But just to end it on this, and let's assume that it is the ending. My God, was it good? That final scene, this idea of, yeah, maybe she's dead, maybe she's alive. It's just like season 1. I kind of love, it's brilliant. They stuck that landing, and because the episode is a billion years long, you kind of forget how awful that final fight was, because you get the fun graduation and the conversation on the roof and Hopper and Joyce at Enzo's and then all the kids in the basement. You do forget that this season has been such a slog and such a disappointment.
Yeah.
Because they get that ending right. Apparently they had the ending in their head for years, and it works.
I was watching that. That is a pretty nice, neat ending. But where was this entire time? The emotional value. Where did we
This is what I'm saying. It focuses on a small, tight-knit group of characters. You really don't need much more than those, 10 We have, I would say, close to 20 people, and we could really just cut it in half.
Yeah.
As we said earlier, they bring back Kali, 8. That's really cool because it's like, oh, I didn't think they would ever actually do anything of this character, and that's really interesting. But they don't do anything of the character. It felt like they just brought her back because everybody complained about that episode being pointless. And it is still the worst episode of the show, and it will always be. It was unexpected, but I don't know if it was necessary.
Yeah. Is it finally? Well, that's the thing. Is it finally over? Is it
God.
Be the Demogorgons? Are they going to be coming back?
Remember when the Demogorgons were scary and difficult to kill? Lucas kicks one this season. He literally kicks one back.
Yeah.
Karen Wheeler takes a broken wine bottle and goes toe-to-toe with a Demogorgon and somehow lives to tell the tale. Brilliant.
Yeah.
What a show. Yeah. What a show. You know what? Now that it's done, I think I could genuinely, if I was ever to rewatch this, I don't think I ever will. Season 1, yeah, but like the rest of it, I don't know if I ever will. But I could rewatch it and laugh. It's very silly. I think looking at it from a critical approach is obviously worth doing, but I could also look at this as a silly, campy, shitty show. You know, it's like a soap opera. It's not great, but ultimately it is what it is. I mean, we're getting a spin-off already. You know about the animated one?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, set in between seasons 2 and 3. More adventures in Hawkins. And there are also spin-offs that aren't connected to any of this, allegedly. As well. The stage show as well.
Apparently that's amazing.
Yes, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Yeah. Maybe that's actually the Vecna characterization that we wanted. Maybe you gotta go watch the show if you want that good stuff.
I just don't know why they didn't make that as accessible, because I think it's important you watch the stage show, but then people saying the stage show isn't actually connected. I don't know.
It's the Henry Creel origin story. I would think that they should release a pro shot, because for those who can't, it's not the best way to watch it, but it is more accessible. Yeah. But that's Stranger Things done. The one and hopefully only time we will discuss it on this show.
It's crazy because we used to be big fans of the show.
Oh my God. I gave season 3 a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that era when you would get people talk about Stranger Things like in high school, that time when everybody's like, oh yeah, season 3 is coming out in July. Yeah. And that was pure excitement, but now it's just
they waited too long. We've talked about it plenty and I could talk about it a lot, but this isn't how TV should be. What they have done here, episodes that are 2 hours long for a finale, no, this isn't it. But hey, what are you gonna give Stranger Things 5 out of 10?
I'm gonna give it a 6 or 5.
Right, I think 5. And very quickly, because we've never covered the other seasons, give me your rankings for seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4 out of 10 each one.
Okay, with season 1, 10, season 2, a 9 or 8, and then season 3, 7, season 4, a 5, and season 5, a 5 or 6. So yeah,
cool. I'm gonna go 1, 9. 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 5. I like seasons 2 to 4 pretty much equally for different reasons. But thank you everybody for listening. If you're listening on YouTube and you liked it, you can like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, you can follow and give us a 5-star review if you think we're worthy. And next week we are going to be looking at 28 years later.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, we got the Bone Temple coming soon, so we're going to look at the one from last year that we missed last year. So we're circling back, folks.
We shall cover that. Yes.
And you can send an email at outstimefilmpod@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on 28 years later. And we'll answer right here in the podcast next week.
Yeah, so you can follow us on Instagram at outstimefilmpod to see our incredible thumbnails from Zain, on Twitter for more thoughts from Tom and me, and TikTok to see edited clips, which are all also on Instagram, Reels, and YouTube Shorts. And you can find links to that all in the description below. Thanks to Elle for the excellent theme, and Ronan for logos as always. And I think that's everything. Take away given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.